Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 71 of my modded Factorio playthrough. Enjoy! So in the previous episode, we finished up making sulfuric acid, and you see our tank is quickly filling up. And the last component we need to make batteries is plastic. So let's search plastic here. Now there's a couple different types of research that accomplish the same goal. Plastic 1 here is essentially what's used to actually make the plastic bars. However, there's plastics, which is kind of more of the technology path to use plastic. You see, it unlocks plastic pipes and synthetic wood. But what processing chain are we going to use to make plastic? There's several options available to us right now. The easiest is probably going to be green algae processing. And actually the setup isn't going to be terribly unlike what's going on here. First we grow the green algae, and then we turn the green algae into fibers, and then those fibers we could turn into methanol gas. So then we need to take methanol gas to plastic. So if we go to gas steam cracking 1, unlocks the steam cracker, which is a machine we can make, and then basically transforms certain types of petrochem products into others. So we can make methanol gas from methane, but specifically what we want is propene, which if we take methanol gas and add steam, we'll get propene and some residual gas. And that's something that we need. It looks like it won't take very long to research that, but in the meantime, there's some factory fixes we can do. After editing videos, I always notice tiny little errors I made. So I'm like, I have to fix them, but we don't need blue inserters here on steel for the ammo. Cool. Gas steam cracking is done, but wanted to take care of one other thing first. Looks like we're producing a lot of slag from oxygen production. But if you notice, as we go up to the top, these machines aren't running for some reason. It's because the pipes are full. But then as you go down here, the machines that are running, the pipes are not full. And you see how the tank wasn't completely full because the oxygen production wasn't high enough. And what this is a problem is a flow problem with the pipes. And if we use a pump, we can force the liquids through the pipes and keep them clear. So now see how fast that's filling up? And if we go up here, you notice every single one is working now because that pump is making sure that the pipe is not completely full, and thus all of these can run. So the larger your setup becomes, or longer a single chain of machines you have, the more of a problem that becomes. I think I needed to change these inserters a little bit. This one technically works. I was doing near side and far side, but because they're dropping straight on the belt, we should more think of it as left side and right side. So if we make this one the right side, it won't change. But my intent was that this other one would drop off on the left side. And that should fix that. Alright, let's go back to the research here. So now that we have propene, we need to take propene and make that into plastic. So if we go back to plastic 1 here, you can see that we can make liquid plastic with propene gas. And then the plastic bars from liquid plastic, and that'll be the plastic chain. So now we need that. That's interesting how that belt is almost completely full of slag. I hadn't calculated what the output would be, and it looks like it's almost completely maximized, but machines aren't falling behind, so it's good enough, I guess. One problem here is that this machine is inserter limited. So if we put a second inserter right here, let's make that a near side. There we go. Just slight improvements that can be made. Huh, that's a stone pipe. That should have been a steel pipe. Those are really hard to tell the difference. They look exactly the same. See, those are, yeah, those are steel. They're really hard to notice. I can't wait till we have plastic pipes. Wow, that research is done already. That's pretty fast. Let's see, I did the math wrong. We only needed one inserter on the input side for these crushers because it takes one coal and turns it into 2 crushed coals, so we only need the one inserter. How's Reverse Factory doing? Just bricks now? Oh wow, look at that, it's almost done. Finally. Awesome. Can finally put those bricks back in their place. This is a small change here, but since we are soon going to have the coal pellets making their way into these machines, we won't need the red inserters anymore. We can have... Oops, don't have enough room. We can make do simply with yellows. This machine here is slightly unbalanced. See how it has 4 inserters on this part of the line, but then this part of the line has 6. So it's slightly unbalanced. If we do that, then it becomes 5 inserters to 5 inserters. So, slightly better. I think that's most of the changes I'd noticed. But now we have everything we need to make some plastics. So I mentioned that green algae processing is one of the ways we can make some free plastic before we mine for oil. Essentially what that's doing is using mineralized water and carbon dioxide, or more specifically, it's using crushed stone, and by association, slag as well, if you want to make that. That's probably the ideal way of making plastic in the beginning. If you look at the chain, we have a recipe for turning raw wood into fiber, so we can skip the growing stage and make methanol gas out of wood. So if we have way too much wood, we can actually break that down and make plastic out of wood. Probably the hardest method of making plastic. I'm not sure if it's been researched yet. It might be because we have the green metal catalyst. Yep, we can do it. Synthesis methanol. We take hydrogen and carbon dioxide and the green metal catalyst, and we can make plastic out of our extra hydrogen, which we have a lot of. But unfortunately, green metal catalysts require aluminum and silver. We don't have either of those resources right now. It wouldn't be that difficult to make them. So I consider this the tertiary method of plastic. So if we run out of stone and we run out of wood and we still need plastic, but we don't feel like mining for oil, then we can try turning that hydrogen into plastic. So the question is, where are we going to make all this plastic? Well, it's good. The setup's not going to be very clean, and it's going to be large. And it's going to use a lot of these same types of machines, and considering that none of that stuff is running right now, why not just place it in here? So one difficulty we're going to have is disassembling this setup efficiently. We have to remove all of these liquids first and foremost, so we don't waste them when we pick the machines up. Let's put the pump right here. And there we go. We're going to suck out all of the mineralized water that's in these machines. Okay, it looks like that's done. I'll leave the pump there for now. Another thing we need to do is pick up all of these products that are in the machines. All of these green algae. You see, each machine's holding 200 of them, so we need to clean out each machine individually. And we're full, so we're going to need somewhere to store all of these extras. You see, as we empty them, they're also going to run again, consuming more resources because of resources that are stuck in machines, stuck in the pipes, and all that. So we just want to run around picking everything up. This would be a lot of work for the robots if we didn't do this. Basically, we want all these lights to be red. The reason why I'm picking them up here rather than letting them go through the processing chain is because we don't actually need the wooden pellets to make plastic, so I don't want to process this stuff into pellets unnecessarily. Finally. All reds, good. And a huge stack of green algae. Let's put that in there. And now we need to... I'll leave the fibers in these machines and get rid of all of the pellets. Should only take a few moments to clear out the inventory of pellets. We want to see all red lights. Good. Red, red, red. And now we need to clear out this storage tank of carbon dioxide. For now, how about we just place it down here? No specific reason for it, just somewhere out of the way. To get rid of that resource. And let that pump all the resources out. While that's finishing up emptying, let's walk around to the side and isolate our mineralized water from the rest of the setup. So we don't need that anymore. So there's all of our mineralized water on hand, and slowly increasing because we're producing it through our water treatment. Okay, so this thing's full, so we're gonna need another one. I really don't want to make another one of these since they're outdated equipment, but oh well, I'll make one. Pipes are mostly empty. Acceptably close enough. There we go. Now the carbon dioxide is isolated. Now we can remove this whole setup, and there's no reason to save it because we're not going to use it anymore. We just want the resources. But we have to be conscious of the solar farm, as it's connected right here. So let's move it. And with that, we should be clear to remove this entire thing. Looks good. And there go the robots. It's going to take them a little bit of time to do this. Finally. Let's pick up all of the resources which we might actually want to use. See, close enough for now, I guess. Okay, let's figure out what the ratio is. Well, first we start with an algae farm. Fortunately, we still have the Mark 1s. Just going to grow some algae. And then from there, we need a liquefier to turn that algae into fiber. I believe it is another liquefier to turn that fiber into methanol gas. And then we need a steam cracker to turn that methanol gas into propene. See, let's put the resources in there. And then we use another liquefier to turn that propene into liquid plastic. And then finally, an assembly machine to take the liquid plastic and turn it into plastic bars. So that's kind of the chain there. So let's figure out what the ratio is. So what's the ratio between algae farms and liquefiers? Well, the algae farm puts out 40 green algae every 20 seconds at a speed of 0.75. So it does 1.5 algae a second. And this consumes 10 algae every 3 seconds times a speed of 2.25. So that's 7.5 divided by 1.5 is 5. So we need 5 algae farms. Guess I'll put them out this direction. 5 algae farms for this one liquefier, which is going to put out 5 fibers every 3 seconds times 2.25. That's 3.75 fibers a second. And the methanol gas machine needs 20 every 30 times 2.25, which is 1.5. So 3.75 divided by 1.5 means we need 2.5. That's 2.5 methanol gas machines for every one of these. If we double it to 2, that means we can have 5 methanol gas machines and a total of 10 algae farms. Alright, so what's the steam cracker in relation to methanol gas machines? Well, they make 100 gas every 30 seconds times 2.25 and then times 5 of them. So we're going to be putting out 37.5 methanol gas a second. And the steam cracker consumes 100 every 2, and that's just at a speed of 1, so it's going to run at a speed of 50. So it's slightly overpowered, but there is a ratio to be had here. If we have 3 steam crackers and 4 sets of this, it would be a balanced setup. I'm not sure if we need that much, but let's just pretend and see what the ratio looks like and then figure out if we really need it to be that big. So I'm going to build 2 more steam crackers. I'm going to put them over here to mark that we need a total of 3 of them. And then I'm going to put 3 of these here to signify we need 3 more copies of everything up there. So that's going to be a total of 150 methanol gas a second. So what would we produce? Well, that 100 methanol gas, only 80 of it is going to be propene. So 80 every 2 seconds times 3 means we are producing 120 propene gas a second. And to make liquid plastic, we need 40 gas every 2 seconds times a speed of 0.75. So that's 15. So 120 divided by 15 is 8. So that's a good ratio. Wow, I'm actually out of liquefiers. So we need 2 more. Oops, don't need to do ghosts for that. Okay, so far so good. The ratio is perfect. So let's see what these 8 liquefiers put out. Well, they make 10 plastic every 2 seconds at a speed of 2.25, and we have 8 of them. So that's going to be 90 liquid plastic a second. The assembly machines need 40 plastic times a speed of 0.75, so they need 90 divided by 15 is 6. We might actually have a perfect setup here. Wow. Previously, I did these based around the steam cracker, so it wasn't a perfect setup. It was pretty good, but it wasn't perfect. But whenever you could do something perfect, it's like, wow, perfection. All right, well, since it's going to be perfect, let's build and place all these machines here so we know what we're working with and how much space we're going to need. So we have 3 of these in total, and these marked that we needed 3 extra copies of everything that's up here. So we're going to need a total of 30 algae farms. See, it's 20, 24, so we need to make another 6. So we needed 3 more copies here, which means 6 liquefiers. And 3 more copies here, which means a total of 20. I don't want to forget this ratio, so I'm just going to leave all these machines just sitting right there. And we can do construction off to the side here and then move it over there once the setup looks good. That's all the time we have for today. We'll get to part 2 of our plastic setup at the next episode. Thanks for watching.